Yalimdat everyone, welcome. So this is our second session of Startup Stories. We have with us Amit Bhayani, who is the co-founder of FlexifyMe. I'm your host, Azmina Panjwani. So to introduce Amit, Amit is associated with multiple startups in the past. He is also an angel investor. Also, he has a lot of patent on his name, and he has incredible contributions towards open source. So let's learn more about what is the startup world, how to progress about startup world, what all opportunities we have in India with the startup as a option, career option. Okay, please keep on posting your queries and comments on Q&A. We will take them. Okay, so we'll start. So welcome, Amit. Thank you for giving us your time. Will you be
to everyone.
So please, can you share the story behind the inception of FlexifyMe? Like what actually inspired you to come up with this idea, and how did you progress on that?
Sure. First of all, Yalimar to everybody. I know it's Sunday and everybody wants to relax at home. So thanks for inviting me on this platform, Azmina Baima, Sohail Bhai, and all the Jamati members. So how it started is basically I developed a cervical pain on my neck. That is in the year of 2020, 2021, when the COVID was started. I was part of my previous startup. And I tried everything. I tried physiotherapy, chiropractor, needle therapy, kinesis therapy, orthopedic doctors, tried everything. Nothing worked. And ultimately, my doctor told me, because you are having cervical spondylitis, nothing is going to work. You have to go through operation. And that is the point when I was very scared to go through the needle, because once you go through an operation, the whole life changes. You cannot do your normal activity anymore. So I started doing a lot of research, why this happens, what are the natural way of recovering, how can I get away from this, from the root cause. Met a lot of orthopedic doctors, met a lot of physiotherapists, senior yoga therapists. And then I started doing an experiment on myself and realized that, even though you have this condition, with proper activations of the muscles, you can get rid of it. So that's how the idea, first I tried on myself, then I tried on few of my family members, friends, and realized that this problem is very big. And unfortunately, India में या even out of India, जो डॉक्टर्स का एक फोकस होता है वो यही होता है कि इसका ऑपरेशन कर लो, क्योंकि मोस्ट ऑफ द डॉक्टर्स का फोकस यही होता है बिकॉज दे गेट इजी मनी आउट ऑफ इट. एंड then I thought it's a very big problem and started doing research, and that's how the idea of Flex.
That's wonderful. So like it is like whenever having problem, don't just creep about it. Find out solution and see that how it can be advantage for yourself as well as for the world. Amazing, nice story, Amit. I know that you were associated about like 4 startup in past. Will you be able to tell us more about that? How it was and why did you stop those startup?
Sure. So basically, my startup story goes all the way in 2000. Even before that, let me give you a little bit of background about myself. I'm a mechanical engineer by education, and I come from a very middle class family where when I was growing up, even getting 2 times a meal was a challenge for me. And Shukar, we are Ismailis, we have a lot of support. My education was actually, I got the scholarship from Education Board. That's how I was able to complete my engineering at the first place. So the reason I'm giving you this background is, if I can do it, then all of you who are in this seminar, you guys can do it as well. And like Baima, you mentioned, I have, experience of 4 startups. The first startup was not very successful. So even that is part of the journey. Don't get demotivated if the startup is not successful. The second startup, which I was part of, was in early 2021, 22, which actually I was not the co-founder, but I was the core team member of the startup that was initiated by Mark Fleury in Atlanta, USA. I was not in USA at that time. So basically, I became part of that startup, did a lot of work, and it got acquired by Red Hat, one of the Linux operating system companies, which is now acquired by IBM, for $350 million in 2007. It was a very big amount then. It is a very big amount right now also. As I said, I was not actually the co-founder, but that helped me a lot to understand the startup ecosystem, how it works, and that gave me an idea about how I can use the same learning for my own startup. And that gave me idea about my third startup in the telecom business. So I started my third startup in the telecom space. We did that business for almost 10 years, acquired customers all the way from US till Japan, raised 100 plus crore rupees. And in 2021, September, it got acquired by another larger entity. So that's the time when I co-founded another company, which is FlexifyMe, my fourth startup. And FlexifyMe also, we have been featured in Shark Tank, and we raised $1.1 million so far from Flipkart and IVCap, to name few of the investors. So there has been failures, there has been success, but the point is, coming from a very modest family, coming from the modest engineering background, if I can do it, then I do believe that any member in our Jamaat should be able to do it.
Very inspiring, actually, starting working with the four startup, and it's really inspiring. I see that there are few people in the group who are asking questions, like they are inspired to be entrepreneur and they have few ideas, but they don't know how to give that a start. Would you like to advise them?
Sure, sure. So first of all, there is no right or wrong time to do the startup. अगर आपको कुछ idea है, now is the right time. So don't think कि कब करना चाहिए, कैसे करना चाहिए. There is no science to that. Get into it the moment you feel that you are ready to do it. But at the same time, it's very important that you follow the process, because startup itself is there are a lot of things that has to fall in place for it to be successful. So the processes will help you a lot to minimize those errors. And in this seminar, we'll talk a lot about those processes as well. I would recommend one book. There's a book by Rashmi, which is Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish. This book actually, this Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish sentence is mentioned by Steve Jobs, but there's a book which actually shows the path of entrepreneurs, almost 25 entrepreneurs, if I remember, from the age of 20 till 60. So if you guys remember Air Deccan, the first ever cheap flying company in India, which came into existence. Before that, flying was like only rich man's business, but Air Deccan changed the whole gamut. And Gopinath was the co-founder at the age of around 60. So 60 साल की उम्र में भी लोगों ने स्टार्टअप्स किया है और 20 साल की उम्र में भी लोगों ने स्टार्टअप किया है. तो there is no right or wrong time. Just get into it, but go into it with a lot of homework and follow the process. It will help you.
Okay, so कोई age नहीं है, अगर कुछ करना चाहो तो then you can do any time. Okay,
Exactly.
good, nice advice. And I hope everybody could register the book name. If not, we will share that on the group as well afterwards. Okay, perfect. And if I have very much stable job, I feel that I'm earning really good enough, but still I feel there is something lagging. Want to do something more. So startup is really good thing to start with. It will give some zeal, right? Do you think there are risks involved with that if I go with the startup?
Right.
And how to mitigate them if there are?
So good question, Bhaima. I often come to this question. People who are into the services or job, they always have this thought process कि अरे मुझे business करना है या startup करना है. The grass is always greener on the other side. So everybody gets aspired, which is not bad. It's a good thing to have. But there is a lot of risk involved. Let me tell you that, there are two aspects. There are two kind of people who come to me. One is when they come to me and tell, Amit, I want to have my own startup. My first question is, क्यों करना? Why you want to do it? So I get two answers. One is, I have seen this company getting successful, that company getting successful. A lot of money has been made. So that is one aspiration कि पैसा बनाना है. दूसरा जो जवाब मिलता है वो कि अरे I see this gap, I see this problem, and I think I can fulfill that with my expertise. So if it's first, if you think that money can be made by startup, let me put some statistics. 99.1% of the company fails in the first year, and 99.5 companies fails in the first 3 years. So if 0.5% startup goes beyond 3 years, And only 0.1 or 0.2% of the companies see 10 years lifespan. Lot of risk involved, lot of risk. So अगर सिर्फ पैसे के लिए कर रहे हो ना तो very difficult, आप नहीं कर पाओगे. But if you have some ideas and you know it will bridge the gap, then money is a byproduct. It will happen for sure. So monetary aspect, let's break it down into three parts. The monetary aspect, your month-end salary will completely stop. Like I'll give you my example. When my company got acquired recently in September 2021, I was in six-figure salary per month, and when I decided I want to do startup, overnight my salary stopped, right? Because when I resignation डाल दिया, zero हो गया. So money plays a very, very important role. So keep those calculations in mind. Once you understand the money aspect of it, then it will become the time aspect. To give you more example, FlexifyMe में भी हम लोग ने जो है, I have a co-founder, so both of us put 5 lakhs each, and before we raised any money from external world, we realized that we had already spent 50 lakhs. So आप पैसा ले नहीं रहे हो, ऊपर से डाले जा रहे हो, and believe me, there'll be no salary for at least 1.5 years, 1 to 1.5 years, because by then it will take time for you to establish team, get the first customer. So money will play a very important role. That is the risk involved. Time aspect. So basically, job में आप शायद 8 hours काम कर रहे हो, 9 hours काम कर रहे हो, but startup is yours, right? So there is no time limit. We even today we put 12 to 14 hours. If you're doing it for the first time, you will easily have to put 16 hours. So keep those things in mind. Emotional aspect, it's a very, very lonely journey. Startup is a very lonely journey. आपको ही सब कुछ करना है, right from market analysis, marketing, sales, building team, getting your first customer, serving the customers, getting the feedback. You will have to be emotionally very strong. And believe me, even after so much of experience, I still get doubts in my mind. Did I do a right thing? Should I have continued my job? It was so stable. And should I have taken the salary? तो ये सब चीज आने वाला. Emotionally be very strong, be mentally prepared कि you are here to make difference, and you will get it done. So it's a very risky prospect, but at the same time, when you see that your product, your services is serving hundreds, thousands of people, and you are generating employment, that feeling, and also you will get freedom in a way, like you are able to take your own decisions, you are able to move forward in your own way. That satisfaction is something that keeps me motivated and keep me going, and always thinking that yes, I did the right thing. So it's a very high risk, but at the same time rewards are also very high, just that you need to keep all those points in mind.
So, like as you are saying that like our salary will stop immediately, right? So do you suggest that we should be working alongside the job to validate our idea, or like to see that if our job if our idea is gonna be successful, people will like it or not? So do we need to keep both the things side by side and then completely switch off your job? How do you suggest how to go about it?
Good point. So again, Baima, there is no right or wrong, and I'm a kind of person who thinks that you cannot sail in two boats. See, अगर आपका 110% जिसमें नहीं है ना, तो वो स्टार्टअप सक्सेस होना भी बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. I'll give you some simple examples or stories. So let's say there were two guys who were passing through a village. दोनों को प्यास लगी थी बहुत. तो पहला बंदा जब वहां से जा रहा था तो उसने पास में कुआं देखा. थोड़ा उसने नीचे जाके देखा तो पानी बहुत नीचे था, बट वहां पे कोई बाल्टी नहीं थी. तो वो आगे चला गया कि चल ठीक है, आगे देख लेंगे. दूसरा बंदा भी वहां से निकला, उसने देखा अरे प्यास लगी है, बट कुएं में पानी बहुत नीचे है, मैं क्या करूं. तो ही स्टार्टेड सर्चिंग फॉर द ऑप्शंस. तो उसने कहीं से जाके रस्सी ढूंढी, कहीं से जाके बाल्टी ढूंढी, एंड पानी निकाल के पी लिया, राइट. तो किसकी ज्यादा प्यास थी, पहले वाले की या सेकंड वाले की, क्योंकि कुआं तो वही है, राइट. So it's something like that. You have to have that hunger, you have to have that passion. And I'm a kind of guy who believes that you cannot sail in two boats. अगर आप जॉब कर रहे हो तो बिजनेस में आप फोकस नहीं कर पाओगे, क्योंकि आपकी बेसिक नीड्स तो फुलफिल हो रही है ना. पैसे तो आ रहे हैं मंथ एंडिंग में. जब वो पैसे नहीं आएंगे ना, तब आग लगेगी पीछे से कि कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा. एंड देन द फोकस एंड द एनर्जी दैट यू विल हैव इज वेरी डिफरेंट. बट अगेन आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि अगर आपका स्टेबल जॉब है तो उसको छोड़ के अभी बिजनेस स्टार्ट कर दो. देयर इज अ प्रोसेस. गो थ्रू दैट प्रोसेस, एंड व्हेन यू आर रेडी यू स्विच. तो वो प्रोसेस का भी हम लोग डिस्कस करते हैं अभी. वंस वी गो लिटिल अहेड, आई विल एक्सप्लेन व्हाट आर दोस प्रोसेसेस.
Okay, so like consider that I have some very amazing idea, which I feel it is amazing. Okay, I don't know if people will like, if you will feel it amazing or a crowd will feel it amazing. How do I validate that if people will really perceive that idea? and go
Good
ahead
point.
with that.
Right, right. So basically, always keep in mind if your idea is solving the problems that human face as of today. If yes, then that idea is worth pursuing. Generally, I have observed that many of times people feel the idea should be very original. अब तक जो हुआ ही नहीं है वैसा कुछ होना चाहिए. आ, वो तो सिर्फ एलन मस्क कर सकता है कि मार्स में लोगों को भेजना है, मून में भेजना है. तो बट ऐसा नहीं है कि एलन मस्क का ही सक्सेसफुल बिजनेस है, सबका सक्सेसफुल बिजनेस है. I'll give you an example. So when Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook, at that time, we were having Orkut. Few of the guys who are of my age in this Zoom meet will know that there was an Orkut and very successful. Yet Facebook become very successful और आज Orkut बंद हो गया, जबकि वो it had a backing from Google. So Mark Zuckerberg did not find a different problem. Social platform was already there. He created one more social platform. He solved the same problem but with a different approach. So that is what is more important. How you can identify the problem in existing services or product, and how can your idea improvise on that. Another example is Google. In 19 Google is search engine, of course, we all know. But before Google, there was already Yahoo. Yahoo was doing exactly same thing. In fact, Google offered Yahoo to acquire themselves in 1998 for $1 million, just $1 million. And Yahoo ने मना कर दिया कि नहीं, हमारे पास तो search engine है, तुम लोग क्या अलग कर रहे हो. And look where Google is right now, and Yahoo is completely gone. So coming back to the point is, the idea doesn't have to be original. The idea has to be something which solves the human problem in a better way, right? Once you understand this, very important aspect is market size. कि इस particular idea का market कितना बड़ा है. For example, I'll take FlexifyMe. We are solving the musculoskeletal disorders, which is back pain, neck pain, cervical. This in itself is a $600 billion market. Huge, huge. That means if there are more FlexifyMe's, or I'm not saying we are the one who is innovating, all the companies here in US, which are multi-billion dollar companies, but there is space for all of us to be surviving at the same time, and yet market is untapped. So, you need to think about market size also, how well you can achieve that. And the third point is to validate your idea, get your first customer. That nothing can beat that. अगर मेरे पास कुछ idea है, कैसे मैं मेरा पहला customer लेके आओ, दूसरा तीसरा बेचो उनको यार. अगर you as a co-founder cannot sell it, then who will sell it? तो बेचो उसको and get the feedback from your customers. The moment your customer starts using it, and if they feel कि अरे अगर ये सर्विस नहीं होगी ना तो मैं अपने लाइफ में कुछ मिस कर दूंगा या मुझे कुछ कमी लगेगी, that is the perfect validation. Other point I will tell you, Baima, is I have seen that most of the first time entrepreneurs, they get shy to discuss about their ideas. उनको लगता है मेरी आइडिया कोई चोरी कर लेगा. ऐसा नहीं होता है यार. Ideas are dime a dozen. मतलब आप मेरे पास ही आ जाओ, किसी को डाउट है तो मैं ऐसे ऐसी आइडिया दूंगा ना, आपको लगेगा कि वाओ, दिस इज द नेक्स्ट बिग कंपनी. आइडिया का कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, एग्जीक्यूशन का वैल्यू है. हाउ विल यू एग्जीक्यूट एंड गिव द विजन टू दैट आइडिया. So discuss with your seniors, discuss with the people whom you trust, take their feedback. It will help you to fine tune it. So don't shy about discussing your ideas with other people.
Okay. So what I could take off from the discussion is, first is your idea should be something should be differentiating from others, but it does not require to be very much original. Okay. And keep on taking the feedback. So feedback loop is very, very important. Discuss your idea, and then only you can get going. Perfect. So I see some of the questions in the group, like people, there is one student who is thinking that he could not get the entry-level job, but then he wished to start his cyber security startup in Canada in the future. Okay, and he's looking for the roadmap, how he should start. First of all, I would like to understand, I see that there are a lot of people who really wish to go to Canada, US, and then only they think that they will be successful. That is one part of it. And second part of it, if I want to start any startup, not in India, being in India, but somewhere else, like in some other part of the world, is it possible, and how to go ahead about it?
Absolutely, Baima. So one of the things that I see in our Jamaat as of today, or any young generation, is everybody is aspiring to go to Canada and US. And so let me tell you that I am a US legal resident. तो मैं चाहूँ तो US में जाके रह सकता हूँ, but मैं इंडिया में रुका हूँ और मैं यहाँ से स्टार्टअप कर रहा हूँ. So basically ना ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि you have to be in the Western world to do the startup. Startup can happen from anywhere. But being an Indian entity, we are serving the US entity. We are US population. We are serving the Canadian population. We are serving the Western world. So you can do that. There is nothing that's stopping you because आज के ज़माने में सब कुछ online हो गया है. And as I understand, your question is more around how can I do that startup, or how can I start it being in India. So I will say that, keep your aspiration very high. Basically, whenever you are thinking about startup, you think about exit strategy, which is either an IPO, which is like hugely successful, right? Swiggy, Zomato, Zerodha, you saw all of those guys going IPO and making bomb, right? So think about that point of view, or at least nothing then acquisition, right? जैसे मेरा पिछला company acquire हो गया था. To keep those aspirations in mind, and that will only happen when you have a proper structure in place. So that structure is only possible when you have a private limited company. There are many different ways of forming a company, like LLPs, partnership, but you cannot use those things if you are aiming very big in terms of your startup. So private limited is one of the options. But again, I will suggest don't jump into registering company right away. Get your ideas फाइन ट्यून, गेट योर फर्स्ट फ्यू कस्टमर्स. उसके लिए कंपनी होने की जरूरत नहीं है. आप कुछ भी नाम डाल के डोमेन रजिस्टर करके आप बेचना स्टार्ट करो. Once you start understanding that your idea is actually making sense, then go and register a company, but only private limited. And I'll explain. Maybe it's a little bit in depth topic कि company पहले क्यों register नहीं करनी है. Maybe whoever is interested can reach out to me later on. I'll explain why you should not, because it's a very in depth and technical discussion. I'll explain that later on. But the ideas is think about solving the problem first, and once you start seeing that customer is actually inclined, then you form the company. I was looking at some statistics of the Jamaat who's attending this session. Most of you are into the business. I saw like almost 25-30% you already have your own business. तो अगर आपका already business है, तो उसको scale कैसे करना है उस पे focus होगा. जो लोग job पे है, जिनको first time करना है, तो then it will be more relevant for you about private limited companies and all. But also there are a lot of innovation hubs, like, TIE. I don't know if you guys have heard about TIE, TIE, TIE conferences that happens across the cities. Go and attend that. There are so many co-founders, founders who come to that meeting. There are so many VCs who come to that meeting. It's very, very inspirational. The energy you can feel in the air. Go and attend the events organized by IITs, IIMs. There are a lot of colleges who organizes the events around the startup. तो ये सब चीज जब आप अटेंड करोगे ना, तो you will start understanding the process. You will start understanding how should I go about it. But yes, it involves some work, and you should keep doing that.
Okay, and if I feel that my idea is like very much innovative, do I need to like immediately go for filing the patent about it, or how it should be?
So one of the thing is patent is a fad. Unless अगर आप कुछ एकदम भयंकर कर रहे हो जो आज तक दुनिया में किसी ने किया नहीं है, तो अलग बात है. एंड इंडिया में तो इट डजंट मैटर. अगर मेरे पास पेटेंट भी है, तो even if somebody else copies it, it's gonna take years for me to fight it out in the court and get it back. So don't go behind patent and all. This is very important when you're going for the external money, when you're going to the VCs and saying कि मेरा technology patented है, and this is my vision because I want to go in US and Europe. Nobody will be able to copy that process in US and Europe. But for that, my product should be first ready. So unless you are creating a rocket engine which will send people to Mars in a very different way, then it's a separate story. Otherwise, patent के पीछे मत जाओ. It should come later on when you have reached to a scale.
So now, one more question. What I see in chat box is like, if I have a tech startup, so we know that a lot of like Infosys and all that started from a small flat, right? So do I need to go with that kind of setup, like small place, my own place, and then get into bigger organization setup, or should I directly go to outsourcing of tech and marketing? How it should be? Any suggestion over?
Okay, I think this is the question asked by Samir, right? For a tech startup, what is a better option initially, in-house or outsourcing? See, again, we are talking about two different things, right? One is services, which is Infosys, Wipro, TCS, Cognizance of the world. Other is a product companies, which takes a lot of efforts in the R&D to create the product, and then they go and sell. Again, this is not the right platform to explain both of those things, but कुछ भी करने से पहले ना आपके पास पैसा होना चाहिए यार. मतलब बड़ा स्पेस लेना है या क्या करना है, डजंट मैटर. गेट द कस्टमर, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. कहीं से भी लाओ. आप अपने बेसमेंट से काम करो, आपके घर से काम करो, जमात खाने में बैठ के काम करो, डजंट मैटर. बट गेट योर फर्स्ट कस्टमर. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. दैट विल गिव यू द डायरेक्शन if you are going in a right direction or not. And I think Samir is asking about outsourcing. Well, in the services company, what will you outsource? There's nothing to outsource. You are the outsourced person, right? The other companies are outsourcing to you. If you are a product company, then of course you may have to outsource your tech depending upon what are you working on. If you don't have that expertise in house, then you may have to outsource. But अगर आप एक tech company हो और आप product बना रहे हो, so I don't think outsourcing is the right option because that is your core, right? That is your USP. So you will have to work on multiple things. So there's no black and white answer to that, but it depends on multiple factors कि आप किस चीज में startup कर रहे हो.
Do I need to have a co-founder whenever I want to start a startup, or I can start by my own? Like, how should be my team look like when I start?
Right, right. So,
and do I need to share some money with them? Like, how do I have that agreement with them? What would be the profit sharing and all that? Otherwise, there would be conflicts, right, afterwards.
of course, of course. So very good point by Mike. Actually, as I said, कि having a startup is a very lonely journey. मतलब काफी सारे ups and downs आएंगे emotionally, financially, mentally. So having a co-founder always helps. And I will go and to an extent and explain that a co-founder is someone who is even more important to you than your spouse, because in your startup you will be spending 16 hours. तो आप अपने स्पाउस के साथ ज्यादा टाइम नहीं बिताओगे जितना को-फाउंडर के साथ बिताओगे. तो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट टू ऑफ यू हैव अ ट्रस्ट एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग, सेम विजन, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड same goes for the initial core team. तो जब आप अपनी टीम सेटअप कर रहे हो, and one more important point about co-founder is his skill set should be complementary to you. तो अगर मैं टेक्निकल बंदा हूँ तो मेरा को-फाउंडर जो है सेल्स एंड मार्केटिंग में होना चाहिए, उसको सेल्स समझ में आना चाहिए पूरी तरह से, और मुझे टेक्नोलॉजी समझ में आना चाहिए. तो अगर आप कौन से स्किल से बिलोंग करते हो उसका ऑपोजिट ढूंढो, and that same goes for the core team. So the core team should be very smart, very aligned with your vision. And generally मैंने देखा है कि one of the mistakes that we do is we try to hire people, specifically for the core team I'm saying, we try to hire people who will take our commands. And if you are the smartest person in the room, then you are in the wrong room. You need to get a core team who's very, very smart and who can do things on their own, just that they're aligned with your vision. And reward them. When I say reward them, of course, अपने पास पैसा तो है नहीं, startup है तो salary कहाँ से दोगे? तो salary नहीं. If they are aligned with your vision, give them equity. Sell them the vision कि इतना बड़ा company होगा, अगर मैं तो उसका 1% भी दूंगा तो इतना बड़ा होगा. See, 100% of zero is zero. अगर आप मतलब 100% equity रख रहे हो, but company बड़ी हो ही नहीं पाई, तो ultimately तो zero ही है ना, आपको क्या मिला उससे? But I'll give you an example of Elon Musk, who sold his PayPal for $1.5 billion. When he sold PayPal for $1.5 billion, he had only 10% equity in the company. Only 10%. He was a co-founder, imagine. And that 10% is how much? $150 million. So do the maths, So that is how it is. Get the right team members and give them equity, make them aligned with your vision and make them work. And don't interfere. Generally अपने इस्माइली लोग का थोड़ा होता है, मैंने मतलब बहुत सारे मेरे भी रिलेटिव्स है जो बिजनेस करते हैं और थोड़ा ठीक ठाक बिजनेस करते हैं, तो उन लोग उन्हीं को लाते हैं जिनके ऊपर उन लोग अपना कमांड चला सके. That way the business is not going to scale, because if the guy has to come to you to ask things, then he's not the right guy.
So like keeping your team motivated with the vision would be very, very important. Otherwise, yeah, because startup भी बहुत difficult journey है, right? So people may think, am I at the right place? So, okay, good. But then money is the most important part, right? Because you need to keep pumping the money. So how do you, what do you see that different stages of funding, and how do you get the startup funded?
Right. So this is also a very important aspect. बिना पैसे के बड़ा होना बहुत difficult होता है. So there are different stages of funding. The very first stage is angel investment, which is basically, you take money from your friends, family when you are starting fresh. तो जो लोग जॉब में है, जो लोग कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि मुझे स्टार्टअप करना है, once you have the idea, once you have got a conviction and you got your first few customers, got the first few dollars in your account, or even rupees in your account, try to go and sell your vision to your friends and family, because they will trust you, right? And please unka trust mat todna, that is my request. So generally they'll invest on you, they'll not invest in the company or a product, or unko kuch pata hi nahi hai, right? वो आपके ऊपर invest करेंगे. तो we also call that as a dumb money, because they are not going to help you in any ways. They are just going to put money on you. That money will help you to make a company a little bit bigger. Once you reach to a point where you're doing, let's say, 10 lakhs monthly, I'm just throwing figures here, right? But minimum utna to hona hi chahiye, 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs per month. then you can go for seed series, which is very small amount where you have to give, where the professional VC starts coming in now. और ये सब चीज के लिए भी different platforms है. There are a lot of angel investment platform in India, जैसे Venture Catalyst है, Chandigarh Angel Networks है, multiple of them. If you want, I'll share the list with you. So basically, you need to knock on their doors and do a lot of pitches, and they will invest where you will have to probably give away your 20%, 25% equity. Once that is done, this is a time when you have to show your product market fit कि हाँ मेरा product चल रहा है, देख मेरा product चल रहा है, इतना revenue आ रहा है, अभी जो है मेरे को थोड़ा और grow करना है, इसलिए मैं seed series ले रहा हूँ. Once you are done with the seed series, now you have to reach to a level where you are doing at least 1 CR, 1.5 CR revenue per month. And you show that product market fit is done. My product is there. It's something that people do want. If I take out this product as of today, my people will miss it. So you have done that job. Now you want money to catapult. You want the money to explode. तो तब जाके जो है A series आता है. So basically angel round, seed series, A series. और A series जो होता है वो थोड़ा बड़ा होता है. It can go anywhere from let's say 20 crore से 40-50 crore तक जा सकता है वो. Again, you will lose out 20-25% of your equity depending upon how your company is doing. And then B series, C series, but these are all later stage. Once you reach to A series, that means you're already big company. Around 100 employees तो आपके पास होंगे ही होंगे minimum, depending upon product company or services company. So then from there on, B series, C series, D series, and then of course you go IPO or you get acquired.
Okay. So like there's one related question, like how much should we invest in the new startup and how much funds you should be keeping in hand, like percentage wise? What should be the breakup?
Okay. So basically, I would say ki be very frugal. There is one very good product called as Lean Startup. Read that book if you're going into the startup for the first time. So basically, you have to be very careful about how much money you are spending, but at least आपके पास अगर 2 co-founder है तो मैं कहूँगा कि 8-10 लाख रुपए तो होने चाहिए, depending upon what you're doing, right? I mean, it's very subjective answer. And eventually after that, be prepared, अगले 1 साल तक आपको कुछ पैसा आने नहीं वाला है, and शायद you may have to put at least keep pumping 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh every month. Minimum उतना तो जाएगा according to my understanding of startup. But again, it depends a lot in what scale you are doing startup. What is your aspiration? Whether you want to go towards VC or not. बहुत सारी चीजें होती है. But have patience and see, for the people who don't have enough money, start slow. Even that is also possible. कम से कम पैसे से भी start हो सकता है. But as I said, be frugal. एक रुपये एक पैसे का हिसाब है आपके पास और कहाँ ROI निकालना है आपको हर एक पैसे का. तो keep that in mind.
I think you already answered one part of one question, that like how to get the funds. Okay, but then I think there would be how to reach out to those multiple investors and first seed funding. Another part of the question is that if person is having very good idea, but not having even 1% to invest in that particular startup. So what would be the process? Do they need to go for unsecured loan, not on individual name, but on the business name? And will there be any compliances around that?
When you say 1%, I believe you are saying he does not have any money to invest in the business,
Exactly.
right?
Right.
Okay. So basically, अगर आपके पास कुछ नहीं है और आपको start करना है तो थोड़ा difficult है, because how are you going to procure your team? How are you going to do things? Again, it's not impossible. If I would have been at a place where I did not have even 1 rupee, I would have started doing my homework, and I would have tried to get my first customer. जो भी services आप दे रहे हो, do that जुगाड़. In Indian language we say जुगाड़, right? कि अरे भैया तू ये कर, तेरे को ये मिलेगा, but have that conviction कि तेरे को मिलेगा. Let the other guy who's delivering the service deliver the service, and tell the customer you will get what you get, and take the money from the customer, right? And give that money from the customer. जैसे हमने अपने Ismaili में perfect वो है ना कि हम लोग we Ismailis were always businessmen and mostly the traders. So that is the easiest way. But be focused. Be focused. I think it's still doable. It will be a little bit difficult, but it's doable.
Okay. So will that be an idea? Like one more question, which is like kind of related to it, is consider that I have idea, as I have very little money, I can start something, but then there are bigger player in the market. So should I reach out to them for the help, or like still stick with my own small team and look for just investment, not approaching those bigger players.
Okay, so if they're doing exactly same what you're doing, so what is the point of they helping you? Yeah, मतलब वो तो so create some niche. As I said, you know, you don't have to have innovative idea. You have to do the same thing but in a different way. भले उन लोग वो जो कर रहे हैं वही तुम करो, but अगर अलग तरीके से कर रहे हो तो maybe they will help you out, and don't be shy about helping and reaching out to people. One of the things we as a human have as a nature is we feel कि अगर मैं पूछ लूंगा ना तो मैं छोटा हो जाऊंगा. ऐसा नहीं है यार. There are a lot of people who are ready to help, and generally you know when you ask there is a art to asking also. You just cannot go कि अरे मुझे ये चाहिए. मतलब did you do your homework? Do you know what you are asking for? Do you know what's going to happen if that has been achieved by you? So it's also an art, but there are people who are ready to help and they take pride in helping you. कल उठ के आप में से कोई अगर मुझे आके पूछेगा कि you know I want to do a startup and how I'll do, if you become successful I'll be so proud कि अरे you know this person asked me, I helped him and he has become you know an IPO. भले मैं जाऊँ कि नहीं जाऊँ, but मैं बाकी लोगों को बोलूंगा अरे मैंने इसको help किया था. So people are ready to help. Ask the correct question after doing all your homework. So I would say कि yes, people are ready to help you. Just do your homework.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, thank you. So like as you were part of multiple startup and then you knew at what time you need to exit that or sell that particular company and then get invested into something new. So how did you decide that exit strategy about it?
Good point. So always start something with exit in mind. Again, it might sound very you know इतना आगे का कैसे मैं सोच पाऊंगा, but जब तक तुम exit नहीं सोचोगे तब तक तुम है ना वो achieve भी नहीं कर पाओगे. So you know leave that exit, you know view that exit that I want to go IPO, I want to get acquired. I would say think about very big, like tremendous big. यार मतलब why can't we have Google? Why can't we have Facebook from India? Why can't you do it? You know think that big. हो सकता है यार. Once you do and start living that dream, it will happen. So what points or what decision you have to take, or when should you decide to exit? It's a very uh, again relative question because it will depend a lot on your business parameters. For example, for my previous startup that I got acquired, we had other offers as well. Initially, like I spent 10 years in that business, but we had previously also got offer to get acquired by other big company. But we didn't go for acquisition at that time. And we thought we can make it much bigger than what they are ready to pay us. So we kept, you know, doing our work. But then unfortunately COVID happened, and then we realized कि अब इसको बड़ा करना बहुत difficult होगा. And whatever offer we had on table, we took it. So you know, you will get enough of hints when you're in that journey that now is the right time to move out of this business, or now is the right time to exit. Before this, the one startup that got acquired for $350 million was basically when we started getting the money from the VC. The VC started pushing us very hard. Ki, we want our money back because it's almost 8 years now. So then we started hunting ki, who are the players in the market who can take it. And you know, that is one of the indications we got ki, now is the right time to move out. So if you're in that business, you will get a lot of hints from that vertical space, you know, right time kab hai, kaisa hai, and you should move out. One example I'll give you is about EdTech. So we all know Byju's was, you know, valued multi-billion dollar. अगर वो समय पे IPO चले जाते तो maybe the ball game would have been very different versus now where they are devalued a lot. There are multiple such stories. So not everybody is able to foresee, but that is the skill set that you have to develop, and you know keep exit in mind always. Don't get very emotional about your startup. Generally, I have seen first time entrepreneurs, they become very emotional. अरे नहीं नहीं ये मेरा बेबी है, मैं कैसे बेच सकता हूँ, मैं अपना बेबी बेच रहा हूँ. ऐसा नहीं है यार. It's a business, and if you're selling a business, it's a very good thing.
Okay, so is it like always get money, how much you invested in that, and then think about it, or like it's okay? You have seen people making losses and then exiting from that.
So again, you should exit when you feel that now is the right time. Generally, losses, as I said, my very first startup, I made a loss, and again, don't get sentimental, don't get emotional, don't get attached to it. You know, अगर आपका दो दुकान है जहाँ पे एक में लॉस हो रहा है एक में प्रॉफिट हो रहा है, तो आप किसको बेचोगे? जिसमें लॉस हो रहा है उसी को बेचोगे, राइट? तो you cannot be emotional about that. You need to know this is my limit. इसके आगे मेरे को कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है, and it's time to wind up. It's a very painful journey. I lost a lot of money. Mine, few of my friends. Really feel sorry about that. But you have to take. If I would have been more careful, if I would have been more educated at that point in time that I'm now, I would have exited that long back because वो idea ही सही नहीं था. So that's why I'm saying do a lot of homework, do a lot of research, do your process thoroughly. So the margin of error will be reducing the more homework you do. But once you lose the faith, once you feel कि नहीं ये नहीं होने वाला है, तो come out of it. And again, as I said, talk to people in that industry. Whoever has been in that industry, get the knowledge from them, and people are ready to help.
Okay. Is there any professional help also available on these topics, like how to exit, and is there any organizations or anything?
There are a lot of books, Maima. There are a lot of literature on Google. There are a lot of books. As I said, the best way is talk to the people who have already done this in the past. They will guide you.
Okay. I see that there is one more question people would like to know about your experience in Shark Tank. Actually, we all felt very proud seeing you there. So, will you be able to share your experience and how you felt that moment?
Sure. So yeah, Shark Tank was a very different experience, Baima. Um, I have been personally in front of VC world multiple times. Generally, कैसा होता है कि VC world में there's a lot of dating that happens. It's as good as you are getting married, right? तो पहले आप लड़की से मिलोगे या लड़के से मिलोगे, टाइम स्पेंड करोगे, समझने की कोशिश करोगे इसका विजन क्या है, इसको क्या करना है, इसका बैकग्राउंड क्या है, इसमें इतनी कैपेबिलिटी है भी कि नहीं है. तो there are a lot of things that happens when you take money from the VC world. Shark Tank is very opposite. Shark Tank is mixture of VC and masala. There's a lot of masala also in Shark Tank. We all have seen that in the episodes, and it's not staged. Of course, when you go to Shark Tank, you have to give pitches to their team. They will listen to the Sony team. I'm not talking to the Sharks team. To the Sony team. Sharks को तो पता भी नहीं होता. So you give the pitches to the Sony team. They'll try to modify here and there because they have to cater to the Sharks as well as the 100+ crore population of India, which is very diverse. So they will try to put some masala in that, and then you go in front of the Sharks, which is not a rehearsal, which is no retake. You have 2.5 hours, and Sharks will grill you left, right, and center. They are very smart. They have been doing this for a very long time. They know what you are, who you are. I mean, they don't know about your business. For the first time, they will hear from you when you go to the Shark, and they have to take that decision in that 2 hours. And for the founders also, we have to take that decision in just 2 hours. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि हम लोग सोचने का टाइम चाहिए या मैं बाद में बताऊंगा या कल बताऊंगा. Nothing like that. And if Shark says no in the episode, they cannot come back to us even behind. Like Shark Tank होने के बाद ऐसा नहीं कि हम लोग को पीछे से आके बात कर सकते हैं. That is done. Once you are done, you are done. So it's a very different experience. One thing which helps a lot to the founders is marketing. Shark Tank gives you a huge marketing. Like FlexifyMe was not a well-known name till the time we went to the Shark Tank. Once we went to the Shark Tank, now whenever we go to corporates, hospital chains, they say, oh yes, FlexifyMe, we have heard about you. Come, let's sit and talk. So it opens up the channel, it opens up the door for you. So if you are a aspirant for the startup, you should try and do things like Shark Tank. अभी तो multiple चीजें आ रही है like Shark Tank. Color is also planning to put one more episode which is very similar to Shark Tank. So multiple things are happening, but go and attend it.
Okay. So it's kind of like it gives you marketing platform as well along with the funding. Okay, great. Tell me one thing, like as I understand, FlexifyMe is mainly based on healthcare industry, right? So this particular industry is very much competitive, right? Then how do you see that there is a scope still for new players, and how do you survive in this particular industry?
Right. So all the research that we have done, Healtech is in the point of disruption now. जो education tech था आज से 10 साल पहले, वो situation अभी Healtech का है. अब तक Healtech का कैसा हो रहा था कि you go to hospital, you go to the clinic, all that is gonna change very soon. In next few years, we're gonna change drastically. Everything is gonna go online. It will be more about single shop, single stop shop. Everything I want to get from one place. So Healtech is gonna disrupt a lot. And in next 10 years, the technology is going to play a very major role. So again, these are all research that, all these big companies, they produce education tech, health tech, fintech, finance tech. So you need to, whatever you are doing, read about all those articles, read about those research and get meaning out of it. So generally, as I said, health tech is definitely going to disrupt and there's a lot of space for everybody who's thinking about it. But Healtech at the same time is very different compared to EdTech, because Healtech में there are a lot of regulations, clinical validations. Doctors ने हाँ बोला है कि नहीं बोला, doctors इसको approve कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं. One of the major aspect in the Healtech is you cannot bypass doctors. You cannot bypass hospital chains. You will never be able to survive if you say, I'm replacing a doctor. You always have to be saying that I'm enabling the doctor, or I'm enabling the physiotherapist, or I'm enabling the nurses. Because we as a human, or the doctors, they command this vertical. अगर doctor ना बोल देगा ना तो कोई तुम्हारे पास आने नहीं वाला है. So a lot of nuances, a lot of things that you have to keep in mind when if you're in a health tech business. And of course, we can go in more depth if somebody has a very specific question, but it's a different market, but at the same time, a big opportunity.
So like there is still scope if anybody is really looking for any opportunity within the healthcare. Good. So, I mean, there is one question in the Q&A. Like we see that India is really growing. India has a lot of talent, a lot of organizations are really surviving because of Indians working there. Very brilliant people. But then why do we see that there is we are lagging in health in the startup world, and US, Canada, all these people are really ahead of us. So is there any problem with our education system, or is there any problem with our mindset? How it is, and how to how to beat that?
अगर हमारे एजुकेशन में प्रॉब्लम होता तो हम इंडियंस यूएस जाके इतना सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो पाते, राइट? इफ यू सी ऑल दोस बिग स्टार्टअप्स, मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर इंडियंस. So definitely there is no problem in our education system. What is lacking is the ecosystem. For any startup to thrive and survive, you need to have a lot of support system. So basically, unfortunately, India has just woken up to that support system. I don't know if how many of you are 40 plus or 50 plus. Till 1992, एक छोटा सा बिजनेस डालने के लिए भी हम लोग को लाइसेंस चाहिए था. That was a license raj which Dr. Manmohan changed completely, and then we didn't need any more licenses. So it's the thing that we failed miserably is the ecosystem, where the US and all, they still have a very good ecosystem. That is one of the things which was stopping point till now. But now, in last few years, we have changed a lot. If you are registered with a Indian startup, like you can register yourself as a startup. If you are in last 2 years of incorporation, you can register yourself as a startup. FlexifyMe has done that. And Indian government has created a lot of incubation centers. We ourselves have applied for it. We have got 20 lakhs rupees. Maximum you can go for 50 lakhs. So that whole ecosystem is changing now. So India is now going into that in that wave where the startups can thrive. We still have a lot of nuances, a lot of regulations, which pulls us down for small things. But now we can register company as soon as in 2 days. जो 2 महीने लगते थे, जो मेरा पहला स्टार्टअप मैंने स्टार्ट किया था, उसको ऑलमोस्ट 2 महीने लगे थे खाली कंपनी रजिस्टर करने के लिए. तो things are changing and it will change. We now have 100 plus unicorns in India, which is something to cheer about. And of course, why things become successful in US versus in India, the economy. India has just now reached 3 million GDP, still bigger than most of the countries, but we are far behind it. Americas and US, I think America is 21 and China is 13 trillion economy. Spending power is very huge in those countries, right? So if you have something over there, obviously the success rate will also improve. And the VC concept or the VC world was very dominant in US, very reluctant to put money, which is an Indian startup. But that mindset is also changing. When we started FlexifyMe, we were heavily thinking that it should be a US-based company because we want to attract VC, or a Singapore-based company. But then we consciously took decision, nay, India is changing, we'll put it as an Indian company. And we still got the funding from a Flipkart, which is a Walmart controlled company, right? US-based company. So things are changing, and I do believe that in next 10 years, things will improvise further. So this is the right time.
So now everyone has caliber, we can go for it. Now our environment is also kind of supportive now. So good,
Right.
good, very inspiring. Just one, actually we will take 1 or 2 more questions. So there is one question where they are asking, is there any process to research the data? How do we get the insight about future trends? Like just to understand if this is the right place to invest. Do you know anything
Invest
about
or startup? Sorry.
startup invest for the startup?
So again, as we discussed in the Bhayma Pura process, you will have to validate your idea to the customer. Nothing, there's no shortcut. And there's no one place to go and do the research. If I want to categorically break it down, whatever idea you're trying to solve, as I said, see the market size. वो idea का कितना बड़ा market size है. I'll give you a simple example. Let's say मेरे घर पे टोस्टर है, राइट, टोस्टिंग मशीन. उसको मैं वाईफाई डाल दूं, उसको मैं ब्लूटूथ डाल दूं, मैं और मैं बोलूं कि वाह ऑसम टेक्नोलॉजी, मैं अपने मोबाइल से टोस्टर को बंद कर सकता हूँ, चालू कर सकता हूँ. हु वांट्स इट यार? कौन कौन मतलब ऑसम आइडिया, वेरी गुड टेक्नोलॉजी, बट who's gonna यूज इट? मार्केट कितना है उसका? कोई यूज नहीं करेगा, राइट? सो think think from that point of view. Are people gonna pay me for this particular technology or not? If yes, then go for it, give it a try, and you can do all the research. अब तो बहुत आसान हो गया यार, गूगल में डालो, रिसर्च करो, find the person who is in that category, in that vertical, reach out to that person. LinkedIn is your tool. Talk to him. You send him an email कि मैंने ये किया है, मेरे को तुम्हारा सिर्फ 5 मिनट चाहिए, can we get on call, I want to ask you things. I have myself met so many budding entrepreneurs, having their questions. I have myself answered so many, and I'm nowhere. I believe I'm very low in the whole chain. There are a lot of people who have a lot of more experience, and they are also ready to answer you. But do your homework. Just don't go and say कि मुझे startup करना है, मैं कैसे करूँ? तो उसका कोई जवाब नहीं है.
Okay. Actually, related question. Somebody was asking about mentorship and coaching. As you said that you can always reach out to anyone, and people are ready to help and coach you.
For sure, for sure. And see, there are a lot of जो भी आपको सवाल है ना, there are a lot of articles available. Go to Udemy. Whatever I have discussed, everything is there in the Udemy. There are many courses. तो है ना, see, as I said, दो लोग हैं, दोनों को प्यास लगी है. एक बंदा सोचा कि अरे कुआं बहुत गहरा है, मैं कुछ कर नहीं पाऊंगा, चला गया, और दूसरे ने जाके बाल्टी, रोप, सब कुछ ढूंढ के लाया, राइट? तो अगर आप में प्यास है ना, तो आप भी वो सब ढूंढ के लाओगे, और वो होने ही वाला है. तो डू इट, जस्ट डू इट.
एक और क्वेश्चन है कि हम एडवाइजर कैसे ढूंढे? हाउ टू फाइंड आउट द एडवाइजर हु कैन हेल्प अस?
Okay. So basically, as I said, everybody takes pride. If you are successful and if I'm part of that success, I will take pride in that. So first of all, think what are you going to the advisor? Very important. And many a times you may not want anything. You may just want their name. So again, reach out to me personally. I'll not take concrete examples, but there are ways to get it done. There are people whose advice is required to make business run. There are people who are just namesake कि इसका नाम भी आ गया ना तो मेरे लिए काफी है. जैसे Shark Tank में, we have Namita Thapar in our this thing. She's advising us, she's helping us for sure, but the name itself is so big. Namita Thapar has invested in FlexifyMe. So I feel proud when I say, oh, Namita Thapar invested in me. And when I go and talk to other people, I explicitly mention Namita Thapar invested in our startup. So the name is very big. So you will get people if you are doing right thing.
Okay, perfect. And at what point, Amit, you thought that you need to bring AI into the picture, like artificial intelligence, or was it the idea from start?
Right, very good question. So again, as I said, don't solve the problem keeping tech in mind. Like वो टोस्टर का जो मैंने एग्जांपल दिया, अगर मैं टेक दिमाग में रखूँ कि मेरे को टेक्नोलॉजी लाना है और मैंने ब्लूटूथ डाल दिया, वाईफाई डाल दिया टोस्टर में, कोई मतलब नहीं है उसका. बट लेट्स से अगर टोस्टर मैंने बनाया और आई हैव created some idea. Let's take an example of FlexifyMe. We created services where helping people to recover from back pain, cervical, musculoskeletal disorders. We did not have AI at that point in time. We wanted to first validate our idea. जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं वो सही है भी कि नहीं है. And then we introduced technology to improvise the process, to improvise the end results. So don't think from the tech point of view first, think from the solving basic problem first. Once you are able to solve that, then how can you improvise using the technology is what I'll suggest. Unless you are a technology first company, like OpenAI is a completely technology based company, right? Everything is based on AI, so they have to do technology first. Same thing goes for the Google. It's a technology company. But most of us, most of the ideas that we'll have will be always around services. So first try to go and solve the problem and then use technology to improvise on that or increase the efficiency.
Okay, perfect. It was really inspiring, Amit, to hear you, and really a lot of ideas what you have shared. And I'm sure that if anyone really would like to have some coaching or mentorship from you, they can always reach out to you. So thanks a lot for sharing all these stories and your expert advice and your time. So, and everyone, thank you for being here. Please share your feedback, how it helped you, and we will come up with new stories and new role model for you. Thank you. Thanks a lot,
Ma'am,
everyone.
I'll
Yeah,
just
please.
put my LinkedIn ID here. I see a lot of people requesting to reach out. So I'll just put the
Perfect. Yeah.
LinkedIn profile here. Is it okay?
Yeah, please share your LinkedIn profile. And yeah, everyone, if you feel that you want to reach out to Amit, you can. He's really helpful.
Sure.
There is a LinkedIn page for IPN as well. Okay, we will share the link. Give me a minute, and you can join LinkedIn page as well.
Okay. Yeah, limited everyone, and I hope you got some insight. More than happy to help any one of you. Please feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Amit. Thank you, everyone. Yali Madad.
Yali Madad.
Enjoy your remaining Sunday. Thank you.